As an entrepreneur, you are most of the time staying at the edge of sanity. If you know that term, you know who is my today's guest. Yes, no other than Mr. Deepak Kanakaraju, or as I call him, as our team calls him, DD. And there is a specific reason that I have invited him over. The reason is that he, in his entire career so far, he has brought some incredible offers, and he has executed all those offers while being profitable, which is another incredible things. So why I'm talking about offers is, no matter what kind of business you run, the only way you can sell is when a customer thinks that the value that he or she is getting is way more than the money that he or she is paying, right? And one of the best ways to, sell really easily, to give an incredible offer without even slashing your prices, right? And I'll be digging through his brains regarding how does he come up with this kind of offers, which which are insane and fascinating at the same time. Being with him, I have learned a lot about him, being in his team, and there is nothing but respect for that man in my heart and in my head. And the way he manages things, the way he hires, the way he thinks, he thinks in a very relationship building kind of. He doesn't see money as the first thing, and this is something that I personally seen, and I want to explore that part of it. What is it that is important for him, if not money? So yes, without any further ado, let's invite him over and let's dig through his brain. Let's dig through his entrepreneur brain, uh, which comes up with such incredible high value offers. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good as well. So, I thought like I had to think a lot before really asking you for the interview. Like, what should I ask this man? Like, I've been working with you for more than a year now, and I have learned so much.
Mm,
So after digging a lot, I realized why I was so attracted to working with you and why I was so attracted to taking the course. So
mm.
one of the biggest reason was like when I see your offers, the offers that you craft, and they are like insane, right? 20 rupees for one video of 100 vlogging course,
Mm, mm,
99 rupees for 100-day lead generation, 1 rupee per course, right?
mm, mm,
And here we have the DDIP where people literally get their money back, and not even like some cash coupon, real cash. So these offers are not something that come by very easily, and this is
mm,
something
mm.
that I want to talk about.
Okay.
So that's my first question. How do you come up with this offers? Like, let's dig through your brain.
It's actually a very interesting question because I think it also makes me think like, why did I come up with those offers and how did I come up with those offers? And I think it goes back to the purpose, right? Purpose defines everything. So there are people who come into the online space and they learn that, oh, we can become a teacher and we can make money. And they go through some courses. The courses teach them that, hey, pick a niche and you can go ahead and learn these things. And they go ahead and implement it and they make some money, right? So for me, making money has obviously it's one of the goals, but at the same time, I have learned to design my life in such a way that it's going to be something like I enjoy what I am doing and I'm doing it for a purpose rather than going ahead and being obligated to do something, right? So which is not exactly, I would say, a monk's life, but a semi monk's life where you design your life in a way that your monthly expenses are taken care of or like your basic needs are taken care of, and then you do something for a bigger purpose rather than just making money. So when I used to sell courses, when I started selling the courses, and when I started going ahead and doing stuff like I launched the Google Ads course, Facebook Ads course, SEO course. I made some money, but then I figured out that people trying to learn this, it's all very scattered, and the very idea for 100-day blogging course came from the fact that I looked at how the education system works. And imagine in your school, if entire seventh standard you learned biology, and then eighth standard you learned physics, ninth standard you learned maths, how would it be? It wouldn't be nice, and you can't do it, right? So you take it like layer by layer. Like you first get the English language foundation set, and that is the first layer, and then you learn numbers, and then maybe fifth standard, sixth standard, you have biology in every standard, you have physics in every standard, you have maths in every standard. So it needs to go like that, right? Because sometimes, let's say, fifth standard mathematics will help with your eighth standard uh, physics, right? Without mathematics you can't learn physics. So when you think about these mental models and how mental models evolve, you have to kind of like build that foundation layer by layer. So that's what I understood with the whole blogging thing and with the whole digital marketing thing, that I went ahead and looked at how I learned digital marketing. So I learned digital marketing basically because I built a motorcycle blog from scratch. And initially I knew nothing. Then I first learned about how domain names say, like, you can host a website. And then I learned about WordPress. Then I published my first article. Then I went ahead and created a basic Facebook page. And then that is like the first layer, right? You just get things done. And then once you have like a basic social media Facebook page, and then you figure out, okay, what kind of post work, what kind of post doesn't work. And then you try to go ahead and eventually learn social media marketing, at the same time learning content marketing, learning SEO, learning hosting, WordPress. Everything kind of goes like layer by layer in an experiential way. That's how I built my blog from zero to like million page views a month from 2008 to 2012. So my idea was that, can I try to replicate the same experience for my students? And then the idea came that, okay, instead of saying that, hey, digital marketing may there are 10 modules, you need to go by like section by section and basically do everything. I went ahead and created like an experiential course, which is the 100-day blogging course. And I'm pretty sure that there will be another version of the 100-day blogging course that I will be launching again with a new project. And then probably something like 100-day e-commerce course, where basically we are like, telling them out in the open that this is what I do every day, day in and day out. Just watch me and learn from me. Right. So that is where the idea came. And people like that idea a lot. And that is where the revenue had like a massive jump. People just like signed up. And I think 100-day blogging course alone has had more than 5,000 students till date. And we have sold it at 2,999, 3,999, 4,999, around that price. And I got started with the course, and then I kept publishing like one video every day for like, and I expected it to finish it in 100 days, but it did not happen in 100 days. It took like 6 months, because you do one video every few days and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that is why that happened, was that I started thinking how I learned, and I started thinking what is the best way for people to learn. So the purpose of what you do, I think, defines a lot. If the purpose was for me, like obviously 100-day blogging course made a lot of money for me. It like kind of skyrocketed my career and my business to what it is today. But if the purpose was to go ahead and try to, make a lot of money, then that idea wouldn't have come,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So money is always like a side effect. And as long as you don't keep the focus as the, like, primary focus as money, money will always come to you. Like, end of the day, it's value, right? So you need to like think about value. And how do you make people think about wanting to add value? That is something that has to come naturally. If they want to add value, then the way will automatically come, right?
Yeah. So this is
Mhm.
what I've seen in the team meetings as well. So you never talk about how much we can earn. All the time you talk about, okay, this is what people need, this is what they are asking, let's give them that. Then we start fixing and playing around the price. And I
Yes.
think that is incredible, because trust me, as like if I work with some other company, people will don't think about that. They're like, ah,
Mm.
okay, this is the next upsell, this is how much money we can make. And I think that's where you lose the innovation, when you look at
Yes.
money
Yes.
first and people next.
Yeah. So creativity, ideas, innovation will automatically come if you put yourself in the customer's shoes and start thinking about it. Right. So I
Definitely.
think that would be the way to go. And then again, the internship program was also like, 100-day blogging course. May I saw that, a lot of people completed it, but a lot of people didn't complete it. Like the motivation kind of like dies off. So then I figured out like, okay, this might be a motivation, and everything. I tested the waters. I posted about it on the Facebook group. I saw people how they responded. People said, "Oh, this was like a great idea. This is like a great idea." And then I started doing it. So everything is built upon testing the waters first, little bit of experimentation. So the idea is, as an entrepreneur, keep doing something, keep pushing the needle forward, and the map will become like clearer and clearer over time.
Yes. So true. Like you just mentioned this point, I wanted to, grab hold of that. Because a lot of people that I see, they say like, "Acha, give me like the step-by-step way to the success," or give me like that cool funnel or that cool hack that I can use in which I can make millions out of it. But a lot of people don't realize that this is an iterative process. I mean, there is no way around it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
just go forward, see what works, what not, and what is your thinking about it? Like when you take that first step, don't you feel scared? Like I feel scared. Like what if I lose all the money? What
I feel
happens if?
scared if I don't take that step. I mean, you need to be scared about that, like not about uncertainty. You need to be scared about certainty, right? If everything is certain, then that is scary for me. Like, not like, moving things. Hmm.
Okay. So it's like you know that not moving things is like a ship on a steady water. I mean, it's
Hmm.
floating, but it's just floating. It's not moving. You need that
Yes.
rough edge, rough
Yes.
seas
Yes.
and do it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
You
how
need
the
to
entrepreneur.
create the ripples.
Yeah, need to create the
Hmm.
ripples, need to move forward. Great. And I've seen like you have always built a product, shoehorned it, try kind of in terms of not shoehorned it, built a product based on the customer's demand. Then we have all worked together on that product till we automate it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
like how when you were alone, like before DDIP, when you were working, and what was your process of this automating things? How did you go about it?
I think automation will come, once you do the manual stuff, properly first. One thing that I forgot to mention in this whole idea generation process is that you need to like, stay in touch with your audience, and you need to like, try to understand what they need. And we talk about like putting yourself in the customer's shoes, but that is not just through imagination, but by actually interacting with them and talking to them. The more you interact with them, the better you will understand where they are coming from, and the ideas will automatically come. Right. For example, right now we are launching this personal mentorship program for internship. That was not an idea when we launched internship, not even a remote idea. And that happened because we interacted with people, and then some people always wanted that hand holding, and they were ready to pay a premium for it. And the idea for personal mentorship came, because of that, right? So when I started my career in 2016, I had a lead magnet, and the lead magnet, people used to enter their name, email ID, and phone number to download the lead magnet, and I just used to like randomly call people and talk to them. And I would ask them like, what are you doing, why are you interested in learning digital marketing, and all those things. So, and also kind of communicating with people within the community, within the Facebook group, wherever it is, right? It's the real people. And even before going ahead and doing the internship program, I think we did a lot of offline events. I used to travel. I used to just say that, hey, I'm doing a meetup. I did a meetup in Calcutta. Did a meetup in Delhi. These were not like full-fledged events, but they were like small, small meetups. And I just charged like 100 rupees per person just to pay for the venue. And I used to travel. And like Calcutta, I went like in the morning and came back in the evening. And I like wherever I traveled, I kind of like kept that opportunity open, and that's where I was like talking to people who you have signed up in the 100-day blogging course. Oh, great! Wow. So how many videos did you finish? And I like 10 videos and 20 videos. So and then they would actually kind of move in an uneasy way, and they were actually feeling embarrassed that they did not complete the course. They took up something, but they did not have the discipline to complete the course. So unless you feel their pain on such a level by actually interacting with them and
Yeah.
seeing, then the idea for internship would have never come along, right? Because I see that problem right there, like like flesh and blood real human beings right in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think that is still very underrated when it comes to business. You can do all your keyword research and online research and everything, but talk to people if possible on phone or webinar, or even better in a offline event, meeting them, right? That's what, as long as, like, this becomes a habit, new ideas will keep coming, innovation will keep happening automatically.
Yeah, because you see those problems right in front of you, and there is
Yes,
fire in your heart. Okay, I can solve this
yes,
problem,
yes,
and that's
yes.
how it goes. Hmm.
And then the idea comes to you automatically, right? It
Yeah.
kind of like falls in place, because I mean, the biggest underrated thing about finding solutions is defining the problem first, right?
Yeah, yeah. So true, so true. And I like this approach. Like when we are, let's say, doing some survey or we are doing this keyword research, we are just looking at the data. Like we are talking numbers, we are looking at the data. But why did that, let's say, keyword research, why did that customer put that keyword in the search? Why
Yes.
did that person choose that
Yeah, what
particular
happened
option?
before they searched for that keyword? What is going on in their mind? What are their
Exactly.
pain points and fears and frustrations that you have to see? There is no way to read about it. You have to actually feel it, right? And that happens, like, when you make your audience your friends, and that way, like, if you have that intention, then automatically things will fall in place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Mm,
that's what
mm,
the power of networking that you say that comes in. Like you network with people, not in just terms of like names and email addresses, but
mm,
beyond
mm,
that.
mm,
And yeah, that's my next question. Like
mm.
back when people are still not realizing the power of email marketing, and you took it up. What made you think like email marketing will work in India back in what, 2014, 15? You started this?
I mean, human psychology is the same all over the world, and there is nothing to say that email marketing will or will not work. Email marketing, end of the day, it's just communication. Email is a way to communicate, and as long as you have a way to communicate to people one on one, not on like social media. Like imagine you are there in an auditorium speaking to a lot of people, and then some people come and talk to you personally. These are two different modes of communication, right?
Yeah.
So social media is what you broadcast to a bunch of people, and then email is like that one-on-one conversation that you have
Yeah.
offline,
Yeah.
right? Email is always personal. People who are reading email, they are alone at their home. Even with social media, they are alone, but it kind of gives a sense of social. But email is like very straightforward, and it's a very personal space. So if there is some other way to, like, instead of email, if there is some other way for me to send communication to them, like if it was 50 years or 100 years before, if if it was me, then I might have like sent postal emails, like Joe Girard. He's like the greatest car salesman in the world, and he used to send like postal emails. Oh wow, you got it already. So communication, right? End of the day, it's communication. I mean, communication has always worked, whether it is offline, online, email, non-email, and it's not about whether email is working or not. Like, it's about whether communication works or not. Communication works, right?
Yeah. In the
Mm.
end, we are just spreading our message, talking to people, solving
Yeah,
their
we are talking to
problems.
people. That's it. And we are
Yeah.
building trust. We are building familiarity, and that's how the brand builds.
Mm, mm, mm.
Mm.
Cool. Now, like when you are starting out, whether you are starting an e-commerce store or you are building a digital,
Mm.
whether you are when you are an entrepreneur, you are trying
Mm.
something new, you are bound to make mistakes,
Mm.
and everybody does that. So,
Mm.
what are your top three biggest mistakes, if I am asked, that you did in your
Okay.
journey?
Okay.
Top one would
I
do,
think,
but let's keep it the option to top three.
yeah. I mean, I think the biggest mistake that I did, which probably impacted the speed of my growth, was that I was not able to optimize the speed at which I wanted to grow. And some things worked. Like, for example, when I did 100-day blogging course, we had like some 20 lakhs extra in the bank that came in. And then suddenly I was like, it'll go to 50 lakhs, it'll go to 1 crore. And then I tried to grow things fast, right? Without building like a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And I started launching more courses back to back without focusing on the quality of the courses, and how I delivered the courses and all those things. So, kind of trying to rush through it, I burnt my fingers with it. And I think this is a story that keeps happening in startups over and over again, from big billion-dollar brands to everyone, like, trying to rush through the growth and then, like, burning out. So intentionally slowing down the growth is actually very healthy to create more time, because if you give it more time, then it will grow in a much deeper and stronger way. Like as a civil engineer, um, like anybody who has learned civil engineering would understand this, but even other people would know that if you build a house and if you put concrete, which actually becomes like the foundation for the next floor, right? You build the foundation from the ground up, and then you build the walls, and then you put the concrete, like. But if you have to build a second floor, the concrete becomes the foundation for the second floor,
Mm.
and then after second floor you put concrete again, that becomes the foundation for the third floor. So if you have to build a tall building, then each floor you have to build a foundation, right? And you have to give 21 days for the concrete to cure,
Yeah.
and you have to
Yeah.
keep watering it, and there
Yeah.
is no shortcut to it.
Yeah.
And if you try to rush through that process, then you will have a weak foundation and the whole structure will collapse, right? So that can be one analogy. Or another analogy is like when you look at like a very big tree, it never rushes the growth, right? Anything that rushes the growth, like you see, let's say, bamboo, sugarcane shooting up fast, it can be swayed by the wind very easily. Sometimes it even gets uprooted by the wind. The things that grows very slow, like a banyan tree, that kind of like becomes like very stable over time, right?
Mm.
So the slower that you grow, you create more time for yourself to understand things, look at things, read books and everything. And that kind of creates like a very solid foundation. So I enjoy that process now. And I think right now, this time I've got it right to intentionally like grow it slow. And if I did not have the kind of experience I have now, maybe I would have raised money. And we had investors who were willing to give us money. But once investors give us money, then they would like look for returns, right? And like for example, if they want like double the return, then they put like X amount this year and they want it next year.
Yeah.
But if the 2x happens only after like 3 years, they wouldn't get that much ROI. It would be like 36% or something.
Mm.
And if they put in money and if it doubles only by the fourth year, then the yield comes to less than like 20%, right? And nobody is going to have that patience. So eventually we might be open to investors, but it should be people like डाल के बुल जाएंगे, right? We need
The
like
right
that kind
investor
of,
we want.
yeah, we need investors who will forget their money for a while. And that is like scarce to come by. But more than that, I don't need money. Like I need time.
Mm.
And if there is an investor who can come and say that, hey, give me like 20% equity in your company and I will pause the world for 1 year and you can build the company for 1 year, I would give 20% equity. I need time, I don't need money,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So but the thing is that time is something I have. And
Mm.
time is something that you can optimize for, and make sure that the business has like a buffer, that even if you have to like slow down, you can choose to slow down. Like it's like a pit stop, right? If you are like going in a car, then if you want to shift to the next gear, there is going to be a moment where there is no acceleration. You press the clutch, you change the gear, and while you are pressing the clutch and changing the gear, there is no power that is being given to the powertrain, right?
Yeah.
And that is required to go to the second gear. If you try
Mm.
to keep
Absolutely.
going fast in the first gear itself, you will burn out the engine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So true. So
So
true. So it's like fasting, right? It's fasting,
yeah,
literally.
yeah. I mean, like, or like you can think about it like, stop the car, give it for service, check everything, and then like, start the journey again. Right. So, like October, November, December this year, you also know that in our team, we have slowed everything down, and we
Yeah.
have stopped the ad campaigns, rebuilding the lead magnets, and basically rebuilding the infrastructure of the business itself. And this is also something that the co-founder of Learn Today, we know David, he believes in very strongly, that you should not rush growth. If you
Yes.
rush growth, you will pay the price for it later. And there is no need to do that. And I think Zoho has shown it very clearly that there was a time where for Zoho, they had an opportunity to sell the entire company for $25 million while they were making $2 million a year in revenue. And they talked with the co-founders and everything, and they decided that, like, what will we do after selling? Yes, we will have some money, but what will we do with our lives, right? So then they decided like, okay, let's not sell. And today I think Zoho is making what, 800 to 1000 crore profit alone per year, and their revenue is like 4,000, 5,000 crores. So yeah, that's what I want to become, and let the journey unfold. So that was my biggest mistake, where I feel like I have lost a few years trying to rush growth. And once you try to rush growth and then customer feedback and those things go for a toss, then that actually you know um, kind of like leads you nowhere, right? It's just wasted time, energy, and resources, because customers are not happy. You have not built anything solid as assets in your business, and you have like burned through the money trying to grow. So even if you end up like making some money, that money is probably not worth it, because uh, will the company go from there? Like where the company will go from there for the next 5 years, right? So imagine there are two companies. One company is making $100 million a year, like they made $100 million last year in revenue, on which even assume they like profited $50 million. And but that company, the next 10 years for that company looks very vague, versus a company making $10 million a year. They are not having any profit margin also. Maybe they are spending like $9.5 million a year, but that company can grow at a steady rate of 20% per year for the next 10 years or even the next 20 years, right? So that is like young blood, right? This is like the dying breed. That is like the young breed. The young breed is always valuable. So seeing anything that is static with always an angle of flux, right? It's like the flux of time is being applied on it as you are seeing it, but it's not very obvious. You look at a tree, you don't feel like it's growing,
Yeah.
right? But it's growing. Like you look at it after a month, then it has grown a little bit, right? So understanding that about companies and about things that you build is very important. Everything is in a constant state of flux. So that is, yeah, that was like the number one mistake that I did. And the number two mistake that I did is not listening to my instincts. you know Hiring someone, and people might say that, oh, this person is a great hire, and all the rationality and logic will apply to it. But if still there is a gut feeling that, nah, yeah, this guy might be in trouble, you should not. And I ended up hiring a guy like that, and he became like such a trouble. He was not emotionally stable. He was like crying and all. I mean, like, get yourself together, man. And then I had to like let him go. And after I let him go, he had some grudges, like, you have spoiled my career and all that. So I mean, like, hire fast, fire faster is something that people say. Maybe it works for them, but I'm like, hire slow, never fire.
Yes,
So
that's
that would
so.
be the second thing. And I think third mistake is that not focusing enough on optimizing my personal life. So that is very important to grow in business. And like, you are the one who is growing the business. You are like, the business is the plane, but you are the pilot, right?
Yeah.
And you have a co-pilot as well. And maybe at a certain point you can hire pilots and let them run it, like hire like a very hotshot CEO like 10 years down the line. But until then, you have to like maneuver this entire organism, right? So not focusing on your personal life, and if there is anything bothering in your personal life, you need to fix that first. It could be health, it could be relationships, it could be things that are demanding your time. So putting efforts, not putting efforts on that and trying to balance everything. So like, I believe that like work life balance is a myth, right? There is no such thing as a work life balance. You either have life or you either have work. And and you have to on some level either have a very supportive partner who is also career focused, or try to like, maybe for a period in your life focus on your career, and then for a period in your life you can focus on life, right? So that way, there is this book called The One Thing. So he
Yeah.
says that all this balancing thing is like BS. You like go in one extreme and then you can take it to the other extreme. So at some point in my life, I might take like 1 or 2 year break, right? Like even right now, it's like a partial break with company, like kind of slowing things down and everything. So right now I'm focusing on my fitness, I'm focusing on my routine, I'm focusing on my diet. This increases my productivity, and that would probably pay like very big multiples, in terms of returns with the business. And that is a mistake that I did when I was trying to build things in 2016, 2015. I was trying to balance everything. And I was like, "Ah, ye bhi karenge, wo bhi karenge," and then I was sacrificing on sleep. So then I put like, then it became unsustainable. And for a lot of people, it becomes unsustainable sooner or later, right? Like, for example, if you have like a tire which is losing air, you see that, like, you immediately fix it. You check if there is a puncture, or then you check why the air is going down and you fix it. If you don't fix it on time, then you will be forced to fix it when you have to fix it, when the tire blows up, right? So fix it when it shows up, not when it blows up, right?
Wow, that's a great tweet.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, I think those are the three things: grow
hmm.
very slowly, hire very slowly, and be mentally and physically fit to grow a business. And if you are not in that level, first, like, build yourself, right? That is the best investment you can do. Even if it means that, let's say, your monthly household expenditure to just living is like, maybe like 50,000 to 1 lakh. And if people have, like, let's say, some 10-20 lakhs in savings, where do you put it? Like, do you put it in stocks? Do you put it in like gold or crypto? Instead of doing something like that, just like, if people want to, like, let's say, quit their job and start a business, or close a business and start a new venture or something, they could take like a 6-month break or 1 year break, against the advice of everybody around them, because parents and, for a lot of people, their spouses and everyone will be like, keep working, like, just keep running the rat race. But going against that, taking that money, and maybe even taking a 6-month break, maybe doing a solo travel, then reading some books, exercising, getting back into good diet. And I know, like, plenty of at least more, like, of all the startup founders and high performance people I know, at least 50% are smokers, right? And that kind of habit starts kicking in, and they kind of like, okay, I'm stressed out, I will like smoke cigarettes and everything. So that will take like a kind of like a huge level of determination and willpower to change habits like that. And you might not be able to, like, if you try to run a startup, then willpower will get drained there. And some people smoke, some people drink, and some people consume sugar. Like, sugar is as bad as smoking and drinking, right? So
Yeah.
they keep and that becomes like a habit. So taking like a 6-month detox, and then, like, basically putting like a restart in your life, and installing like a new firmware. Like, you can't use iPhone while it is updating the iOS, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes, so
everybody
true.
has, like, update the iOS. The iPhone is not usable for a while. Like, you can't keep using the iPhone and still expect it to update the firmware. So you have to update your own firmware, right? And that takes time, and investment in that, for me, I have seen, gives the best returns. It's like the investment, the upside potential is infinite. Like, what if you become a CEO of a $1 billion company, right? By taking 1 year break and making the determination, changing your habits, becoming super productive, super healthy, super focused, and then in the next 10 years you create like $1 billion, that would beat the returns of Bitcoin or whatever potential investment that can be there out there, right?
Best investment is your own company.
Yeah, like, invest in yourself.
Yes.
Own company is one thing, but invest in yourself. Like,
Hmm.
I look at my, like, Deepak Incorporated, right? I look at me as, like, my own company. So you
Good.
need to invest. Yeah. And I think probably as I move forward, and as I increase my personal wealth, I think my investments would be in diet. I'll probably, hire a chef. I will probably hire a personal trainer. And health and fitness, I will keep like investing more and more, and get like, exotic foods or something, which are like, extremely healthy. Like, your energy levels depend on your diet. So all those things is where I would be investing in, ideally, rather than trying to buy a fancy house or something like that.
You did
Mm.
something like that, right? You saved up to, like you mentioned somewhere, you saved up to 12 lakhs and put it on FD when you were planning to quit your job. So let's talk about that. Like, how did you quit your job?
Yeah, so I think I created some buffer, and I created artificial salary for myself. So
Uh,
humans need monthly income, because humans have monthly expenses, right? Everything is monthly. Your phone bill, current bill, and electricity bill, and house bill, house rent, if you are like renting a house, which is, by the way, the best option. buying a house is self-imprisonment, is what I feel. You can buy a house when you are 50, but until 50, like, why buy a house when you can rent it, right? And since humans have monthly expenses, they are addicted to a monthly salary, right? And I think I heard this in some, I think Joe Rogan podcast or somewhere, that the world's most addictive thing is cocaine, and the second most addictive thing is a monthly salary. People just can't like let go of that.
Yeah.
So because that pays the bills and keeps things running. So the way I quit my job was that I had around like 60,000 a month in personal expenses. So all the things included. So I did some proper Excel sheet stuff, and like, okay, 5,000 savings made, although 5,000 emergencies, 50,000 fixed expenses, house rent, there's maintenance, all that. And I wanted 60,000 to get credited to my account every month. So I put fixed deposits, and obviously fixed deposit gives you a very low return, but it kind of at least is very predictable. It won't like go up and down. And for short term safety, you need fixed deposit. Long term ke liye, you can do whatever you want to invest in, real estate, stock market, crypto, all that. But if you invest in stocks and it goes down, then you can't sell at a loss, right? So stock market usually gives you return in like 5-year term, 10-year term. So I made the fixed deposits in such, I took all my savings and put the fixed deposits in such a way that every fixed deposit is like a 60,000 rupee fixed deposit unit. And the liquidation date is the first of every consecutive month. And in the meantime, if I started making some money, then I started rolling over. Like, for example, you start in January and you have fixed deposits in such a way that uh, Feb 1st, March 1st, April 1st, May 1st, you keep having the liquidation dates. And in this period, if you had some windfall of money or you had something extra, then if the last fixed deposit liquidation is December 1st, then you put the next one for January 1st of next year. So you keep trying to like extend that. And I think you can do that up to like 5 years. Obviously, doesn't make sense beyond 5 years, because gold, crypto, and real estate would and stocks will probably give better returns post 5 years. Like maximum 2-3 years is fine if people really want that stability, because your lizard brain will constantly keep screaming, right? If you are trying to start a business, uh, you can't focus on working and building something in your business if you are in a state of fear. And research and science has also proved that in toxic households where mom and dad are always fighting, the children are always in a state of fear.
Mhm.
And when children grow up in households where they are in a state of fear, the mental energy of the body kind of uh, tries to safeguard you, and all the energy goes into safeguarding yourself mentally and emotionally and physically, rather than into learning and everything. So the kids who learn the most and the kids who become like very intelligent adults are the kids who grow up in very stable households where they didn't feel like they need to worry about safety, right? So then your mental energy goes into growth. So similarly in entrepreneurship, you need to, like, irrespective of your whatever happened in your childhood, once you become an adult, then you can like pick yourself up and fix yourself. They say that we become adults so that we can take care of the kids inside us. We don't need to depend on anyone, any other adult to do that. So for entrepreneurship also, that sense of fear is going to be there because things are uncertain, right? And rather than saying that, hey, I'm going to be courageous and I'm going to be fearless, rather than going against your nature, fix that fear, right? Imagine for the next 3 years, you have your salary equivalent or your expenses equivalent getting deposited in your account on the first of every month. It's like you have a job for 3 years. You have a stable job for 3 years, right? Then you stop worrying about the money, and then you deal with the uncertainty. Then it's easy to deal with the uncertainty. You do something in a month, it doesn't work. You do something next month, things might not work for 6 months, but seventh month may it's gonna work, because now you figured out, like all these quotes say that, I figured out 10,000 way not to fail, and all that is nice, but it's not practical. How do you apply it to the practical reality, right? So you can keep doing that, and even if nothing works even for 2 years, you can still keep doing that, because by second year, if really nothing works, then you can start looking for a job. And in the meantime, you would have upskilled yourself. You could have done a course on the side while you are trying entrepreneurship, and that would probably make you employable again. And anyone can put it on their resume that I tried entrepreneurship for 2 years. I'm a failed entrepreneur. And nowadays, a lot of startups are ready to hire failed entrepreneurs, right? So having done a project is actually much more valuable than having worked at a company. So people could, like, I mean, $10 में domain ले सकते हैं, and people could become CEO overnight, right? With a
Yeah.
$10, and
Without a
like
board, become a CEO.
come up with a brand, and and then go ahead and put it on LinkedIn, CEO of so and so startup. And if you actually work on your own startup for like for 2 years, even if nothing works, then you will have something to talk about it, you will have something to say, unless you have like wasted your time. So I don't know why people are afraid to do that. Like, I have friends from my college who are still stuck in jobs, never quitting, and always like, wanting to start something, but never really having that courage to do it, like, one fine day. And obviously their spouses are not going to support, obviously their parents are not going to support, and that has to be done. That's a given, right? Nobody is going to be supportive, and the
Absolutely.
reason why they are not supportive is that they want to see how sure you are about this, right? Like, for example, when I said I'm quitting my first job, my dad said no way. And if my dad had said ha quit kar lo, entrepreneurship try kar lo, and if I tried something and nothing works, then I would be like, dad, you know better, why did you ask me to quit my job? Now I am like in a bad financial state. So they want to see how sure you are about this. So even though internally they might want you to start something of your own and become successful, they would still say that no, don't do it, right? And if you do it even about that, they will actually feel good about it. Okay, this guy is really sure, and I like it. Even though I said no, he's still able to do it, which means that he has thought through it. That is the comfort that parents want, and maybe family wants, spouses want. And a lot of people complain that my family is not supportive. No, they are not determined enough, which means, and it's
Yeah.
good that the family is not supportive, because if they were really determined, they would have done it. And if they are not that determined, and if their family supported, they would not have had the willpower to actually, like, get into entrepreneurship and make things successful anyway. So it's good that their family said no, and they actually accepted it. Right.
Because that's like the biggest barrier that you can cross. Like everything in the world can come at you and you can fight it. But when you're like just starting out and everybody that you have known and loved, they say, okay, this is not going to work. Don't do it. I mean, that's what happened. Like when I was starting digital marketing, like, dude, why are you quitting geology, going to digital marketing? Already have a PhD. तुमको
Mm,
गवर्नमेंट जॉब मिल जाएगा, इधर मिल जाएगा, वो मिल
mm,
जाएगा. But now the same people are like, हाँ चलो, he has done something really good. And
yes,
I think
yes.
that makes sense for them because they want they think that this guy will not be happy. We kept it under an umbrella,
Mm,
and that umbrella kept him safe, and safe
mm,
is happiness, but safe is not happiness,
yes.
as we know, right?
And the golden time for especially men to, like, set something for themselves and understand their own expertise and maybe build a business is 20 to 30, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't recommend anyone getting married before 30. And that can be like a huge distraction to, like, have the obligation of having a family, having kids, and taking care of them. So that means that you cannot take risks in life. So 20 to 30 is the time to take risk. 30 to 40 is the time to get settled down. And maybe it is the same for women who are like wanting to build a career. But I know women who don't want to build a career, they just want to get married, have kids, and do some work from home on the side. So it depends on what women really want. But men don't have an option, right? Men are always going to be the breadwinners of the family. And statistically, families where men don't work but women work, and men are like house husbands, the chances of divorce is very much high, statistically, right? I'm not saying, the numbers are saying. So it's always expected of men to carry that burden of performance. And yes, we live in a world of equality and everything, but for women it's optional. But I believe for men, career is not optional. You have to be the guy, like, 10,000 years back, you had to be the person to go out, hunt for food, and bring back food into the home, right? There was
Yes.
no other option, unless you are a lion, right? Lion maybe the lioness goes and hunts, and the lion just sits in the pride. So humans may to, definitely men have to work. So which means that men can go ahead and travel, choose different careers, and the flexibility of travel and everything goes away once you get married and settle down. You can't take risks, you can't quit jobs, you can't try new things. So I think that is also a huge factor in success, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like you mentioned that Deepak Incorporation is the one that you're focused about, but when you're married, it's not just There are two co-founders for two
Yes.
companies, and you have to run two companies at once, and after a few years, multiple companies at once,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's like
So yeah, I
crazy.
mean, you have one company and the other companies are like subsidiaries of that company. If the main company fails, then all the other companies will also fail. So you need to be like really in that position, and you need to like build yourself.
Hmm.
Obviously, like 10 to 20 is not the age to even try doing that, because you have hormones going all over the place. So 20 to 30 is like the golden period. In fact, if I ever become an authoritative dictator of a country, I would ban marriages like less than 30 for men. It's not good for the economy or the country.
And legal
Or
cashback on education system.
yeah, and bring cashback on the education system itself.
That'd be so cool, no?
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Did you like? I
Yeah.
have one final question. Like,
Yes.
I know for a fact that you are an avid reader,
Mm.
and I have asked this question to a lot of people. So, how do you read? Are you a very objective based reader, or do you like read something that you feel like?
See, humans have this tendency for closure. For everything, humans want closure, and people want to put together a broken vase, and it's okay to just leave it and walk away, right? So, if people start watching a movie, even if the movie is boring, they would like finish watching the movie. If they go to a theater, they won't walk away after the intermission. They are like, I would like walk away, like even in middle of like the first half an hour if it's bullshit, right? So people have this tendency to kind of like finish what they started, and that's why they think that you need to start a book and finish it, and it's not good to like jump from one book to another book, and then people don't read enough. So I have spent so much money on books, like in lakhs, and I have downloaded PDFs, I have started courses and everything. The idea is to increase the net absorption that you have, whether you are reading an audiobook or a book, or whether you are going through a training course. It could be a Udemy course, or it could be a longer course, whatever it is. Spend 3 hours per day in learning. That is my primary goal. I don't think apart from internship program, anywhere else you will have like this kind of completion rates. But uh, okay, internship program is like a structured thing which people have to go through to like build a solid career. So when it comes to structured training programs, maybe people have to finish what they started. It could be MBA, it could be a university. They have to like finish what they started. But at the same time, if they decide in the middle that okay, this is not worth it, then they need to have a conviction in it. But books, when it comes to books, I would recommend that people stop using social media and stop wasting time on Instagram and Facebook, and then trying to kind of feel good while browsing Instagram because they found like 6 tips for productivity on a 15-second reel on Instagram, and they think that they have learned something. So I
Oh,
think that doesn't take you anywhere. But I feel like it's not your responsibility to finish the book. It's the responsibility of the book to take you to the finish completion, right? So
yeah.
it's just like a movie. It grips you. And there are books which are like very well written. And I have like there are books which I have picked up and I couldn't, like for example Deep Work, for example Spent. So these are books which continuously gripped me until the end, and I finished those books. So the idea is to learn for 3 hours a day, and whatever you feel like for example, we will finish this podcast now. It will be like 6:30. It's a weekend, and there is nothing for me to do until I have dinner. I have some free time, so I wouldn't open social media. I wouldn't go to Netflix. I would pick up whatever I feel like reading. The book could be about psychology, it could be about marketing, it could be about finance. If I don't feel like reading a book, I would listen to an audiobook. If I don't feel like listening to an audiobook, I would like watch some course video. And if at all it is coming to social media consumption, it is limited to listening to podcasts. So plenty of great podcasters out there, and you can watch like go to YouTube and watch a TEDx talk. Like I would recommend watch like a 10 to 15 minute TEDx talk every day, and every day you will like learn something, because most of the TEDx speakers have kind of put 10 years of their experience into 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a
True.
lot of these people are like book authors, right? So you can like keep watching TEDx talks. You like like a lot of apps, they say that we will give you book summaries. We will give you like the short form audiobook of a book summary and everything, boss. Like that's what TEDx talks are about. It's such, it's from the author itself. And
Yeah.
like the best of his ideas presented by the author itself. Like somebody else doesn't need to like filter it out. So yeah, I think that is how people should have a habit of learning every day. And I think the biggest, like they say that India is the most depressed country in the world. And like there is like, no matter what problems if you have in life, if you have learned something new, then it will definitely make your mood a little bit positive,
Yeah.
right? Depending on what is your current state, it will definitely take you to the next state. So that way, books are my drugs. Like I have, like, my username is Hi Deepak on
Yeah.
Twitter, on Instagram, and everything. And I'm literally high all the time, because morning I'm reading, afternoon I'm reading, evening I'm reading. I learned something new, and I'm like, oh wow, oh what a thought. And the brain keeps like expanding like that, and gives you new perspectives. And that's a good way to be, like, be high all the time by reading and
That's a
keeping
good high.
yourself in a positive state. And I think, like, there is not something new for you, right? You are a voracious reader. Like, look at the
Yeah.
amount of books you have behind you.
Yeah. I think sometimes read one book over and over again, like six, 7 times to get, like every
Yeah,
time
that
I
is
read
also
one book.
something you can do. Like, for example, Sapiens, I have read twice, both the books,
Hmm.
Sapiens and Homo Deus. And it's like a journey. And then 2 years later, you pick up the same book, you will discover something new in that, because you now look at the world from a different perspective. The way you perceive the book will be different. And that's the magic of books, right? Books are very personal and subjective. Movies are objective. You and me watch a movie, we will see the same thing. You and me read the same book, we will see it in different ways. Because when I say pink elephant, the image of a pink elephant definitely has come to your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't like understand the words pink elephant, right? So that way, when you look at it, when you read books, like, obviously read books in the sense, read self-help books or non-fiction books. Fiction books are fine, the classics, some, like, here and there. Like, Tim Ferriss recommends that at least for half an hour a day you should like read fiction books, because it takes you away from your regular world. And as a storyteller, it might improve your storytelling capabilities. So you can read classics like 1984, Brave New World. These are fiction books, dystopian fiction books. I'm a fan of those kind of genre, but not for everyone maybe. And then Dan Brown novels, and then you have classics like To Kill a Mockingbird and things like that. So that is like, so the yeah so that, like, every person who has read Harry Potter or read Game of Thrones have said that the reading experience was much better than watching the movie, because reading is very personal, it's very subjective, and your imagination kind of like, lightens up. And the thing is, like a hard drive space which says that your disk is full, your brain is never going to say
Never
that,
felt.
right?
Yeah.
you can you can try to
So true.
optimize as much as you can for reading, and that's my goal. As personal wealth keeps increasing, and as the business gets more and more streamlined, my number one goal is to make more time for reading every day.
So my professor used to say this, like before we graduated from masters. So my professor there, so he said books are the only way where you can engage like both the analytical and the creative brain. Because when you watch a movie, you are like your analytical brain is down. Like
No,
you are
yes.
just watching. Your brain is the creative brain is on because it's imagining so many things.
Mm.
But when you are actually reading a book, you are creating that movie in your head.
Yes,
On top of
yes,
it, you are also aligning with another
yes,
the other side.
exactly.
Ki, okay,
In
so
fact,
that it
in
makes
fact,
sense.
the left brain and right brain, there is a thing connecting these two, and it's called the corpus callosum.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the thicker that layer is, the stronger the connection is. Generally, the more successful you are in life, and the higher IQ you have. And there are three ways to improve this. One is to read, one is to meditate, and one is to, according to what I have learned, one is via psychedelics, which chemically kind of improves that
Oh, that's
connection.
possible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So obviously, reading is the most accessible way for all of us, and then meditation. So obviously, I would prefer reading and meditation. But you can like look it up, like corpus callosum, and that is basically the connection between the left brain and the right brain, and
Absolutely.
it increases like your overall life quality depends on how thick that connection is between your left brain and right brain. Hmm.
Thank you very much, Didi. It was so awesome. I never thought it would go so deep into things.
Yes.
And I am sure whoever watches this enjoys it and learns something new. And
Yes.
yes, thank you very much for coming to the
Awesome.
show.
Thanks a lot for hosting me. Bye bye.
Yes.